Hi guys, welcome to the studio where I do all of my weather. I'm going to be taking my mask off for this video. I am socially distant, of course. There is nobody else in the room at the moment. But I'm just going to do a little behind the scenes thing, show you guys how I do the weather and that sort of thing. So my day naturally starts with me checking the weather. I have about 15 different weather apps on my phone and countless other sites that I check. Seems a little bit extra, but when you're obsessed with the weather, that's what we do. So I make a little bit of a mental forecast, if you will, kind of average out all the data. And then before I come into the studio and make a more official forecast, I also take a look at some model guidance and some data before making my forecast to go on air. So just a quick tour of the studio real fast. That is where our anchors sit. That's the anchor desk. We have several ring lights there that we use to light them up pretty good. We have some very good cameras as well. But the main story for me, at least, is this blue wall. Now, you might be thinking, how do you just stand in front of a blue wall? Are you not actually pointing to a real map? And the answer is no, because we use a special software called Chroma Key. That's going to transform either a blue or green, usually background colored wall, because those are the most prominent colors that the computer can recognize. And that transfers whatever color it sees into the graphics that we put in. So, neat little fact there. And that's why it's so important for me never to wear blue, because if I were to wear blue, I would essentially blend right in with the computer graphic, and all you would see is a floating head, essentially. So we have to wear contrasting colors, of course, with the green screen, or in this case, blue screen, so that we don't become a computer graphic ourselves. Can I just say the studio lighting hits different? So all the action essentially is going to happen right here. This is where I stand when I do my forecast in front of the blue screen, and everything behind me is transformed into a computer graphic. Anyway, so enough of that. Back to a little bit of the forecasting and what happens behind the scenes before we go on air. So of course, before we go on air, we have to make our forecast, look at some data, and average it all out to give the viewer the best possible forecast they can possibly get. So here I am looking at some model guidance. Here I am looking at the cyclonic vorticity product on the GFS. That's the American model. We're going to go through here some of the runs here, and what you see there is a developing storm system over the central plains, and where we see these tighter pressure gradients, or stronger vorticity, if you will, that's indicative of a potential severe weather event. So we'll be watching that as we head into mid to late March. And then I like to follow the models, of course, write any notes that I have down and anything that's applicable to us here in the Sunshine State. And then one of the most common sites that we check as broadcast meteorologists is the National Weather Service. This is a very important site that we use to analyze local weather events here. The weather offices put out certain products for us that we use in our forecasts. Here's the National Weather Service office in Melbourne, Florida. That's our forecast office here in East Central Florida. And what we're mainly concerned about here is some products that they put out. So here's the Hazardous Weather Outlook. I like to read that every morning to get a good feel of what to expect in terms of rip current risks today, wind and sea impacts, and other things like that. This gives us a good idea of what we can expect over the next coming days in terms of any potential hazardous weather. Now that we've got our forecast and any numbers that we may need, it's time to make the graphics and turn that information into a way that makes a story, basically, that the viewer can understand. The average person in the general public can watch television and get a good feel for how the weather will be today and in the days to come. Of course, if we were a professional television station, we'd have access to multi-$1,000 software programs that allow us to give the best on-air experience we possibly can. But of course, in this setting, it's a little bit more casual. I'm in high school, obviously, and I do the best with what I have. I try to work with the resources that I have. So I get my graphics from a source. We're not going to say where it is, but I try my best to make it my own. We'll just say that at the very least. Some of the graphics that I use, you can see lots of options depending on what I feel is necessary to put in my forecast. Let's go ahead and head into the control room here. This is where more of the magic happens, essentially. All of our software and digital graphics system lies in here. These are the brains, if you will, where everything happens behind the scenes. So shout out to the producer, of course, and everyone here at Titan TV that makes all of the magnificence happen, if you will. And some days we do the weather by myself, but other times the anchors will be sitting right here and they'll just toss it over to me. I'll be standing right over here, and we'll just pick it up like that. Wondering, how do I know where to point? Well, I've got several monitors throughout the studio that help me see where I'm pointing. We're still waiting on those to come on, obviously. Technical difficulties. Oh, there we go. But gotta love it. So several monitors that allow me to see where I'm pointing. And this is actually mirrored. This is something you wouldn't know. But when I actually move my arm like this, it's quite literally mirrored. So I have to do the opposite. So it's a lot harder than it seems, but you'll naturally get used to it over time. Up there, and I got the clicker in my hand, and essentially whenever I'm pushing this, that's changing my graphics. So that's the forecast that we just made here in a PowerPoint, but me clicking the graphic here is changing the graphic as well. So that's how I transition through my forecast. The next step, of course, is to mic up. The viewers want to hear you, so this is allowing the sound, of course, to be put on TV. We're ready to roll. I got my magic weather clicker. This is where all the magic happens. Without this thing, I'd be literally lost. So, yeah, we're all ready to go. Graphics are ready. Forecast is queued up. It's time to go live. Holding at about 30% as we go towards 5 p.m., but not a widespread chance of rain whatsoever. Tomorrow, getting even warmer as we get up to 83, and looking ahead for the start of next week, temperatures nearing 90 degrees. And just like that, another day over in the Titan Weather Center, as I like to call it. Nothing official, but just my little corner here where I do my forecasting. And yeah, there's that. Very excited to pursue my dreams. Meteorology, especially broadcast meteorology, has always been a passion of mine. Even as a young child, I've always known what I've wanted to do in life. Always known I wanted to go into this career. So I'm excited to pursue my dreams and live a life where I love my job and enjoy coming to work every day. If that sounds cringy, I don't know, but that's just how I feel. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Yeah, it's what I do every day. Really love it. Really love it. Always have a good time.